All right, well, let's get started. Thank you everybody for joining us today. We have an exciting presentation for you. First, I want to give a little intro and then I will let our main presenter start the presentation and the webinar. So a couple of things here. So with an increasing emphasis on data analysis and reporting, organizations across the world are looking for robust reporting to empower their existing ERP solutions and business software in general. Today, we will tell you a story of how Netronics Inc., a security integration leader, turned to AlphaBOLD for help to advance their project management capabilities in NetSuite ERP with the help of Power BI and AlphaBOLD's proprietary connector. So without further ado, I would like to let our main presenter, Avas Aslam, take it over. Thank you, Avas.
Thanks, Ilya. So let me introduce myself. My name is Avas, and I have 13 years of experience on advanced analytics and business intelligence. And I have delivered a lot of projects on this domain. And with me, we have Ilya Budimir. He's a practice manager of NetSuite. And with his help, this is a unique combination of analytics and the NetSuite team. And we have delivered a lot of successful projects for our clients. And he has around 10 years of ERP implementation experience. He's subject matter expert, and he is kind of a star of our company. So moving forward, okay. So I'm super excited today. You know what? Reason being, President Netronics Integration, Craig, and Director Operations, Chris, has joined us today in this webinar. They will share their experience with us on using Bold Suite Analytics project management dashboard. And there are a lot of things that we will be discussing with them. But let me quickly walk you through the agenda of this webinar. So first thing first, reason being you guys are all here is to know about what is the Bold Suite Analytics and project management dashboard and why you need it. In my opinion, well, answering this question will tell you either this product is right for you or not. So sit tight and just raise questions and let us know in the chat window about what problems you are facing with your project management in NetSuite and how we could solve them. Then after that, I will invite Chris and Craig to tell us about project management dashboard and how this is helping their business, what benefits they have gotten so far, and how their projects are easier to manage after using this product. After this, I will just take 5 minutes to convince you guys on why Bold Suite Analytics and Project Management Dashboard is one of the best NetSuite Analytics solution in the market. Well, primarily, if I just summarize this Bold Suite Analytics, it is a collection of pre-built plug-and-play reports and the dashboard that comes with Power BI data connector for the NetSuite. We will share all the collaterals, documentation related to Bold Suite Analytics after this webinar that will cover all the offerings that we have for this product. Then I will cover about what kind of data we are pulling from NetSuite and for the KPIs and calculations and how you can configure these dashboards and reports for your own needs. And at the end, I will present a live demo on the project management dashboard. Okay, so let's get it started. As I promised, let me quickly give you a glimpse of project management dashboard. This is only a one view of project management dashboard that shows different KPIs and analysis around project execution. Important aspect of this dashboard is it just don't tell you high level numbers or KPIs. Important aspect of is that it explains you how these numbers are being calculated. What is the reason behind exceptions and anomalies in your project? How you can rectify it? Which project is bleeding and which project is missing timeline. So essentially, in a nutshell, you could do all kind of diagnostic analysis with drill through reports and drill down features of this dashboard on the data that is coming from NetSuite project management module. Okay, so now on, I will ask few questions, and if answer of any of these questions is yes, then project management dashboard is definitely for you. So first, my first question is for the executives. So if you are in a C-suite and want to see which project or project manager is burning money and want to see bleeding projects in your organization, then let me assure you that your 30-minute in this webinar could save a lot of money for your business. And you can answer these questions in a chat window, and feel free to ask any question during this presentation. So next question is, if you are a manager and struggling while keeping balance between estimated and the budgeted amount of project, then project management dashboard will help you to better estimate your projects and also help to better manage and plan the budget of these projects. Third question is, this one is tricky and even hard to get answer around this question most of the time, but if you want to track labor and material cost on each project on each site, this dashboard will give you a lot of insight around this data. Fourth question is, it is for the accounts department. And if your accounts department is struggling to track billed and unbilled invoices, then this dashboard will help them to hunt down those clients that are not paying bills on time. So you can follow up with those clients to tell them that your invoices are due and give us more money to keep these projects executed. And the last question is about identifying the key star player in your team. So if you want to increase revenue of your company or a department, and I guess everyone wants and want to identify and want to achieve the goals of your department and the company, then this project management will help you to identify those high performers in your organization, and then you can rely on those people to achieve your goals using this dashboard. Okay, so I believe you guys must have answered yes for at least one question that I have asked. I would say don't trust on my words, trust on the words from our client. So that's why Chris and Craig are here. I will ask my guest speakers to share their journey with us, tell us about how their experience working with the AlphaBOLD, what benefits they got so far using project management dashboard, how this dashboard helps day to day of their business, or tell us about everything that they want to share with us. So over to you, Craig. Chris.
You want to start, Chris?
Sure. As the director of operations, I kind of have to keep my finger on all the projects. I'm not necessarily in the weeds on any one project, but we currently have about 615 open projects across our U.S. business, and as such, I'm constantly looking for projects that are, as they indicated, projects that are bleeding or having problems. But we also use it to look at wider pictures. We'll look at a whole office, how an office is performing at any given time, how an individual project manager is performing at any given time, how our company. So with this product, we're able to slice our data a lot of different ways and get a lot of different information from it. That's probably, my use of it on a regular basis, as well as the other. I mean, all the other things are just great value adds. Being able to look at invoicing, getting a snapshot of over and under billing on a given project to help us, dial in if we're missing money someplace. Being able to, help project managers along. We use it when we start to see a project slip. We can identify those projects much earlier, as opposed to getting to the end and then taking a post-mortem of it and realizing, hey, we lost money on it. We can see the project starting to slip far earlier. We can start putting maybe our best resources labor-wise on a project. We can get creative in our purchasing plan if we need to. So we use it to try to find problems early and address those problems.
That and really the start of the dashboards, which we've gone through and have created a whole bunch even beyond what AlphaBOLD has done for us, really started because a lot of our project managers struggled in NetSuite to find all the data. It's all there, but unless they're in looking for those invoices and bills and other things all the time, they could get lost inside of NetSuite. So it really started as we just wanted to put all the important data that they would need up onto the plate so that they could, at a quick glance, gather all that information without having to know how to navigate through NetSuite to find it all. So we started very simply, and then as we started realizing the power that was there, we just kind of kept expanding it and expanding it in other ways to get better visibility at a quick glance.
That's good to know that, Craig and Chris. So, you know what? From my experience, most of our clients struggle on building trust on the data that we present on dashboard. So, I need to know how you build your trust on the KPIs and the calculations that we are presenting on the dashboard. What was your process?
I think as we first got the dashboard, we just began vetting the information. I mean, I kind of looked at different things that I could go back and validate in NetSuite. There's a trust that the information is coming from NetSuite, but sometimes the way calculations are done, or how we set up the visuals, we wanted to go back and be able to check that. And it was very simple to, basically you can have a lot of information presented at you, but I could take that information and narrow it down to a single project and start comparing that project in NetSuite. If the information matched, I could maybe spot check 3 or 4, go to a couple different offices and look at it. And if you can get 3 or 4 of them that are matching, then pretty much, they kind of validated that the data was accurate.
Sounds good to me. And my next question for you, Chris, is about monitoring materials on different sites. So how this feature is helping you guys to keep a budget of a project under certain amount, and how you're tracking your materials on the sites.
So, I mean, it's a few different ways we're able to do it. One, there's a very handy, the way we set it up, or you guys set it up, was we have all of our estimated costs in one bar across the top, and then we have our actuals right underneath that. So on any given project or office or project manager, I can see the status of how much we've estimated for materials and how much we've spent, how many hours of labor and how many actual hours have been utilized on a given project, office, month, however I choose to look at that information. And then we've also developed some other screens that allow us to look at purchasing on a project and be able to look at purchase orders that have been created, look at invoices that have been received from our vendors. So there's a lot of different ways we can track our material and labor usage.
It's good to know. And one last question from my side is about, so for now, we have Power BI dashboard that is on Power BI service, and you guys log in and consume that data and use this data. So what about, obviously, there are a lot of ways to export this data in Excel and share this information with other people as well. So tell me about your scenarios. Are you guys sharing this data or raw data of this dashboard with other people as well, or not?
Yeah, we utilize it. So I have set up certain reports that I look at, but all of our operations managers, so the heads of each given office, has the dashboard, and they are setting it up to view data that is relevant to them. And then each project manager, each project coordinator has their own dashboard set up because of its ability to be as customizable as it is. We've empowered everybody to be able to set up their own dashboard that focuses on the information that they need. So they're not looking at, massive amounts of data that becomes hard to filter. When I look at the whole company, I don't really get a lot of information from that because it's not specific enough, but being able to hone down to what I want to look at. And it's the same thing for our example project managers. They can look at their 25 projects and then they can filter down from there.
Exactly.
And I have a question.
And yes, please.
Sorry, I have a question for Chris.
Okay.
Chris, before the dashboard became available to you, how long would it take you to, let's say, look for labor costs, or let's say look up purchase orders on a dashboard and gather all that information?
So that really would go down to each individual specifically. So for me, somebody who lives in NetSuite and has learned and does it regularly, I might be able to find, if you're talking about multiple pieces of information, I'm going to multiple locations. It could be a minute, 2 minutes, depending on what I'm looking at. But if you don't have a really in-depth familiarity with NetSuite, you could spend a lot of time, 10 minutes before you get frustrated, and then ask somebody for help, and then enlist. There's times where I've had a PM go to their ops manager who then comes to me, and now you've had 3 people who have invested 5 or 10 minutes in looking for a couple pieces of information. So we don't have that issue with dashboard. The information is there, it's visible, and it took us probably a whopping 20 minutes to familiarize everybody with dashboard and how to set it up, and they use it regularly now.
Great.
Sounds good to me. So, Craig, last question. I'm saying that is again a last question from my side. But how was your overall experience working with AlphaBOLD? As we have been engaged in multiple projects with you guys, so what is the total experience working with us?
I would say it's been very good. Our last dashboard experience kind of came in more of an operational or a weekly dashboard that we had you guys create, and we had probably 7 or 8 different reports that would we had an assistant controller who would spend about 4 hours every Tuesday night, Wednesday morning putting together a pretty extensive dashboard in Excel. Because it took her 4 hours, we'd only do it once a week and get a snapshot. We gave those reports to you guys. You guys built it into a dashboard that gives us a snapshot every single day when we walk in. So now we've got it 5 times instead of once a week. We got it into those 5 times, and it doesn't take us any time. We handed you guys the reports, and you guys basically brought back the dashboard having those reports in, and it made validating the data as easy as looking at our reports and looking at your dashboards to make sure that the numbers matched. So it was kind of a here's what we want, and the next thing we got back is we're ready to test, and the testing phase I think took us 2 or 3 hours to just go through the numbers and make sure everything matched up, and we were pretty much there.
Sounds good to know. And any suggestions for us how we can further improve this thing? Anything that you see that need to be improved?
After the last experience, I would say there wasn't much that needed to be improved. The only, the only things we really had changed were some graphical changes that we wanted to see just so it made sense in our eyes. Changing some colors, changing how the graphs looked. Chris and I could even differ on what that looked like. So it wasn't that what you gave us was wrong. It just, how we wanted to consume it needed to look a little bit different. So it made complete sense in our heads. But beyond that, it was pretty flawless.
Sounds good. So it means we are perfect.
Perfect.
Hey,
so
we were
any question from you?
Done and under budget, which is always good in our book.
Yeah, exactly. Ilya, any question from your side?
No questions. I thank you for kind words. Yeah, that's really all I want to say. Thank you so much for working with us.
Thanks, Chris, and thanks, Craig, for your overwhelming kind of response or the feedback on this project. So, and it was really pleasure to serve you guys, and it was really a good experience for working with Netronics. Everyone was so much accommodating and supportive in each step. Thanks, Chris, and thanks, Craig. Thanks for your time. So from here, things will get little techy for next 5 minutes. And however, I will try my best to keep things simple so that everyone who is in this webinar would be easy for them to digest this concept. So let me explain how we are enabling our client for self-service data warehousing and self-service BI. We know that building such kind of complex analytics on NetSuite is a cumbersome process, and that involves implementing business logic and combining data in NetSuite and moving data out of NetSuite to data warehouse or StageDB, building semantic model on the data, and at the end, building intuitive and user-friendly analytics on business intelligence tool. So, however, this AlphaBOLD Suite Analytics is a turnkey solution that encapsulates all the complexities of these processes. And it is kind of plug and play for your business. Deploy the connector, configure it, and start using out of the box report that come with the package. But obviously, it depends upon the business and the things that have been implemented in NetSuite. But it is completely adaptable. So if there is something different from this implementation, we can fine tune or rewire things for you in this dashboard. So let's talk about why AlphaBOLD Suite Analytics is better than other NetSuite analytics solutions that are out in market. There are a handful of competitors out there, and all of them are very authoritative in nature. And when I'm saying authoritative, it means you want to buy their analytics and then they own your precious data. Whereas in AlphaBOLD Suite Analytics is a solution that will be deployed on your organization or on your cloud subscription. We don't own your data. And other competitors, they don't allow you to modify things by yourself. They give you a solution that is completely consultants driven, whereas we enable you and encourage you to do self-service BI, side-by-side out-of-the-box report that we provide. Our competitors also don't provide you authority to play or control the data warehouse. And this AlphaBOLD Suite Analytics and the data connector we have is pretty generic. You can easily add new columns, new tables in your data layer that could be used for analytics. And I will ask Craig to share his feedback about how they are leveraging analytics to add new things without much help from us. And we trained them. We trained them to use this product, and they are now enhancing and adding new features in their analytical platform. So, Chris, would it be possible to share a few insights about how you are leveraging your analytical platform?
Sure. I'm not 100% sure I follow what you're asking.
Well, I'll throw in so Michael created on our material purchasing stuff. Michael tied in UPS and FedEx delivery notices. So if we order something from one of our manufacturers in New York, as soon as it's got a UPS or FedEx number, we can actually see on a map where that part is in its flow to one of our offices. Actually, Michael's kind of gone crazy and found all kinds of dashboards to create. We've got a collections dashboard, we've got a sales dashboard. We can pull data from other resources, like the FedEx and UPS into all those pieces. So once it's there, it's pretty simple. What was the one that Michael created yesterday? Oh, our subcontractors. Chris mentioned it to him, and within about an hour, he had a map. And so he created another dashboard that just shows where our subcontractors are, and so we can look at a map. And if we're looking for somebody in Boston, you can easily see who we've got just off of the map, and once you click it, it gives you all the information, whether we've got their insurance, whether we got their W-9, what products they sell, all the different pieces, and we're building in an ability to rate them so that as time goes on, somebody can see, you know, is this subcontractor a 5 out of 5 or are they a 2 out of 5, and somebody we may want to dump. So once the data is there and it's pulled into out of NetSuite, it's fairly easy to manipulate. Now I say that I'm not the one manipulating it, but somebody with a technical mind can easily manipulate it, virtually like an Excel.
Yeah, so with some knowledge of Power BI, they'll be able to create a report and then create a dashboard for you.
Exactly.
The data is there. Okay, thank you for that.
And in very quick time.
It's really good to know that you guys are leveraging your analytical platform without much of our support. So yeah, and I believe this is the huge plus of our data connector and our offering. So thanks, Craig, for your feedback. And moving forward, okay, so and one more interesting thing that I want to tell you about VoLtSuite Analytics is that it does not cost you a lot. You don't need special license for Suite Connect or DVC connector to pull data out of NetSuite. And obviously, it's a very expensive way of getting data from NetSuite to build analytics. So we don't need any VoLtSuite Connect or DVC connector license for this product. The platform we use on cloud, we can pause and resume resources on the cloud, so that could significantly reduce the overall cost of the resources. So we don't want to keep our resources active for this specific project or the dashboard. We can scale up and scale down based on the load of the and the volume of the data. And overall, it reduces a lot of administrative cost of managing this platform. And obviously, once you start building things by yourself, as Craig was explaining how they are building things by themselves, then client can build things by themselves without much of our support. So not every time client has to reach out to us for adding a new thing or adding a new dashboard. So again, it's adding a huge value for our customers.
Avas, I have a question. Avas, sorry to interrupt. I have a question for you. So let's say we have a scenario, right? So the data is coming from NetSuite through Azure onto the Power BI platform. And let's say a user needs to expose an additional column in the data or an additional field. Can they do that directly in NetSuite? And will that field then become exposed on Power BI?
This is a really great question, Elias. So you know what? The way we have developed this data connector, it is very user friendly. People just have to create or add new workbooks or the save searches in the NetSuite. They have to map this data in a configuration file, and then that's it. Your data would be available in a database. And then you can connect Power BI on top of it to build more reports or enhance existing reports as well. So it's quick. You don't need much of the development. Everything is configurable.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, so moving on, I will share details about project management dashboard data orchestration. And as you can see here is in this slide, our project management dashboard is getting data from this long list of transaction type and entities. But the base data of this dashboard is coming from NetSuite projects and estimated data from sales order. And actuals are coming from the invoices, memos, journals, item fulfillment, subcontractors, and sub-labor transaction types. And for labor efforts, we are getting data directly from the timesheet associated with the projects. Having said that, you can change these transaction types based on your business processes. For example, if you guys are not using memos, journals, or maybe subcontractor, you can fine tune or rewire things based on your own business needs, so that the whole actual calculation would be realigned itself based on your logic. So, and again, I would request Craig to share his thoughts around how we modify project management for their business to address complex processes of the Netronics. So before Netronics, this project was deployed for another client, and then we rewired things for the Netronics especially. So I would ask Craig to share that episode with us. What was his experience rewiring this dashboard with the Netronics?
Yeah, so I would say it was probably a year ago, almost exactly. A partner that we know, one of our subcontractors in North Carolina, had a dashboard done by AlphaBOLD, and we saw it. And so I forget now how much of what we used they actually had in it, but what we saw was exactly what we wanted to build. And so as we started our discussions with AlphaBOLD, we just really wrote down all the things we wanted to accomplish, gave that in our first little demonstration. I think some of it was what our partner was using, and we probably took some of that above and beyond. I think we're probably 20 times larger than they are, so we had a few more requirements or things that were important to us. And so I've honestly kind of lost track as to how much we modified it, just because we had our framework of what we were looking for. We kind of presented that, and then you guys just kept coming back and showing us how that information was in what you had already built, or you added it on to meet. One of the things that I can remember that we kind of added on was just the ability to see the estimated versus a line that was the actuals. The initial version, I think, was estimated and actuals kind of melded together. And for us, it just was important to see it separately. And so after we brought it up, the next version had it broken out separately, and off we kept going.
Let me recall a few things for you, Craig. So if I can just share with all the audience of this webinar, as Craig explained, the size of Netronics is pretty large as compared to our previous client. And so the business processes were also so much complex. And we work with Netronics to identify how we can calculate the KPIs and the calculation based on this new logic. And we define things, and we work with the Netronics to rewire things to calculate the same information for the Netronics. And let me tell you that it was really complex. We managed different transactions, different entities, and with different criteria to pull out the data. And we 50% change the logic of this dashboard for the Netronics. But in a nutshell, overall outlook of this dashboard remained the same. But because of the complexity of the business of Netronics, we changed a lot of things for them.
Yeah, which was kind of beyond our visibility, right? That was all in the background, under the hood.
Yep. Thanks,
I think
Craig.
part of the process, though, that stands out to me is while we were going through this exercise in setting this up, I think you guys helped us identify some of our own areas that we could improve in our own processes as well. And I think through the development of the dashboard and getting that data crunched so it all made sense, I think it helped us clean up some of our general ledger entries, and we found ways to maybe do things a little better as well.
Yeah, exactly. The whole purpose of the dashboard is to expose the anomalies of your ERP system so that you can see what has been going wrong in your system and how you can rectify things. So this is the huge benefit of using analytics. So obviously, it drives a data-driven culture in organization. So anything that you want to see or want to decide something, numbers are in front of you. You can decide either these are correct or not, and based on your data, you can take decisions on it.
And Avas, I wonder if it's a good time to ask a couple of questions that I have in the question box. So the first question I have here is, how much time does it take to deploy this dashboard? And the second question that I have here is, what is the licensing cost of the package?
Yes. So first part of your question is that we have defined that it will take 1 or 2 weeks based on your business logic, on a NetSuite to deploy data connector and configure dashboards for you. And at max 2 weeks, and at best, it would be deployed for you in a 1 week. And the second part is we have different variation and different kind of set for licensing. I will ask marketing team to share those collaterals with all the audience and to share about how much it will cost you to get a single report or bunch of reports with the data connector. Or either you can get only standalone data connector to get data out of NetSuite.
So just the last question, is it a SaaS model? Is it like a monthly payment or is it a combination?
It's a combination of both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ilya, for your questions. Okay, so we know that in NetSuite, as we were discussing with Craig, that processes can get very complex. And there are a few situations that can only be identified by combining transaction type with the GL account and the transaction that are hitting GL account. So out of the box, project management dashboard allows you to manage transactions that are hitting account receivable, inventory, accounts payable, earned revenue, income, and expense type of account, which eventually makes this dashboard so powerful that enables you to see reason behind every number that you see on this dashboard. And you can reconfigure things based on your own requirement. For example, if you are using different chart of accounts in your organization, then it would be configurable for you to fine tune this logic in data extraction. So moving forward, so we talked about characteristics of the project management dashboard. Now let's talk about what are the features in it that we offer. So first set of KPIs that I want to share with you are related to sales order in NetSuite. And this dashboard will let you know what is the total value of the project. What is the estimated cost of it. It calculates estimated gross profits and also reckon estimated labor and material of your project as well. So next set of KPIs that project management dashboard gives you is related with actuals in your business. And these are most complex measures to calculate, I would say. And as we know, nature of the NetSuite implementation for your business could be very challenging sometimes to get this information out. But this dashboard will tell you actual gross margin of your project, total actual cost of it, actual material spent on the project, actual labor performed on it, and as we know, these KPIs are based on specific transaction types corresponding to GL accounts in NetSuite. So we made this calculation dynamic. So customer can change this logic of these KPIs based on their own processes. Okay, so and the last set of KPIs are associated with invoiced and earned revenues. These KPIs will help you and your accounts department to manage the cash flow of your organization. This is it. So, well, in project management dashboard, it is not about just calculating KPIs for the project, but it gives you detailed data behind the calculations as well. So you can drill down to details and slice and dice data from multiple filters and dimension. So there are a lot of features to show you. So instead of telling these things, let me show you how you can do it, all these cool stuff on project management dashboard. Let me share my screen for the demo. So this is project management dashboard. And if you see on your left-hand pane, We have bunch of reports here, and we have categorized under sales, finance, project management, and the warehousing. So there are a lot of reports on NetSuite that we have, but our focus today would be on project management dashboard. And as you can see here, on top you will see filters and the slicers that you can play around. You can type any project name to see data only specific for that project. You can filter project based on statuses. We have categorized active statuses, closed statuses, and the project that has not been associated with status. We can analyze this data for specific project manager and what are the project associated with the specific project manager. We can also analyze this dashboard for specific customer as well and for the specific range. So on a header, you will see what are the total active projects in your organization and what are the number of customers that are associated with these total active projects, your total revenue, total actual cost, how much work we have done so far, what is the gross profit of all the projects that are active in your organization, and then what is the gross profit percentage. These KPIs will tell you overall percentage complete. If you have selected multiple projects, it will also give you a specific percentage for one project as well. It will also give you actual profit versus estimated profit in your organization, slip and under and overbilling. And this is color coded. If it is something underbilling, that it will be highlighted as a red. These three visuals will tell you about total number of active projects by statuses, by manager, and by customers. And you can see what manager is occupied with most of the project, and you can see which project manager need more attention based on the statuses. And we can also see number of projects per customer. So this visual, total actual cost versus total estimated cost by project, this is the most interesting one. Consider it as an goals tracking visual for your project. Like you can track for each project what was the total actual cost of it and what is the estimated cost of it. And if it is going above estimated cost, then it will be highlighted as a red. And if you are interested to see what is the reason behind going out of budget, then you can just right click on it. You can see cost details of this project, and it will navigate you to another sub report for this specific project, and it will give you the same KPIs around materials, variance, over and under billing, and what is the total cost of it. You can see, you can further see materials, labors, and the others that are associated with your project. Like in case of materials, you can list down each and every material that is associated with this specific project. What is the count of it? What is the quantity of it? And what is the estimated amount of it? And you can click on this link that will navigate you to the NetSuite as well to see the actual record in the NetSuite. Same case with the labor. You can see the details around it and for the others as well. Going back to our main dashboard. In this visual, you can track total revenue per project. You can see invoiced revenue, earned revenue, and the variance between it. And this will tell you about actual details of this data. And you can also export this data into Excel or CSV file to share it with other users. You can click on the project to open the actual instance in the NetSuite. You can see details associated with the sales order as well. And there are tons of options that also come with the Power BI, like you can collaborate with your teams directly from your Power BI report. You can share it with your customer. For example, if your user don't want to get license on the NetSuite, you can just assign Power BI Pro license to those customers or the or your users, and then we don't need Power NetSuite license to give them access on these dashboards. And we only need one NetSuite user for this whole dashboard. We don't need specific license for each one who is going to consume this dashboard. So there are tons of features and benefit of using this project management dashboard. So this is it about the demo. Over to you, Ilya.
I have a couple of questions here that I just saw in the audience. So one question is, how does your connector handle the large amounts of data?
So right now, our connector is basically using Azure Synapse on cloud. So what does it mean? And the processing power that is coming from for this connector, it is configurable. So if you have a large amount of data, like if we are talking about millions of the rows, then it would not be a problem to store or the process this data through our data connector. And another best feature about our data connector is that it supports incremental load. For example, if you are pulling 10 million rows from your NetSuite and you want to refresh your data daily on your dashboard, then you don't have to pull 10 million rows daily to refresh your data. You would be able to just pull delta data from your NetSuite based on modified date or any date criteria that you have to define. That significantly reduce the overall processing cost and the cost of resources that we have on the cloud.
Oh, great. And how difficult is it to learn Power BI?
So the best feature of the Power BI is it is designed in a way that people should move from Excel to Power BI. It is very much easy to learn. If you know Excel, then you can work on the Power BI. It is very much intuitive in a design to enable business users to do self-service BI. And this is the best selling point of Power BI. It enables organization and all the business user to start using the Power BI to take data-driven decisions for them.
And I have one more question here. Let me see. No, I think that's it. Those are all the questions I have in the box.
Cool.
All right. Well, I just like you to maybe move to the last slide. I want to show our address, and I want to invite everybody who's on the call today to contact us for maybe a working session together, sort of an assessment, a discussion, free of charge, of course, where we can see how we can help you, see how we can implement this connector in your environment and help you either with the project management dashboard or any other reporting tool that you will need or functional area that you will need to report on. I thank you so much for your time, Craig and Chris, and as always of us, so the presentation was perfect. Thank you so much, and thank you for your time as well.
Thanks everyone for joining, and I really appreciate your time, Chris and Craig, and your opinion and your suggestions were quite overwhelming for us. Thanks for joining.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.